Hey, what's up, guys? It's Kitta, and this is something I put together in like 4 hours. And right now, I want to kind of elaborate on the Angels dive versus the Mirror dive. And so I have. Don't take this map into account. I'm just gonna draw on this so you guys can understand. But pretty much this comp, you have. So let's just say this is Winston, and here, and then just put Tracer here. Mercy tethered with Pharah, and then Lucio back here, and same thing here. All right. So this is pretty much like a generic blueprint on how this comp is designed to work, and of course, all of the fights that happen, mid fights depend on alt economy, low health targets, enemies that are out of position that you need to capitalize on. And so I want you guys to recognize like what the counters are to this composition. Tracer counters D.Va. Like within like 2 to maybe, I don't know, 10 meters. She can do a 1 clip. Can pretty much deplete D.Va's armor. 2 clips will demech her. Pharah Mercy, pretty much counters Pharah Mercy. Just depends who's the better Pharah Mercy, And as far as D.Va counters the range DPS. The range DPS counters the Winston. So I want you guys to recognize the priority targets in this composition. Pretty much like you want to pick 3 targets, 3 core targets that make the composition the way it's supposed to be designed. And in this, Winston is definitely a priority number 1. Number 2 kind of depends. It would be kind of D.Va. It depends. Like if D.Va is paired with the Winston, then yeah, because she has the defense matrix, she also becomes a priority target. But if D.Va is separated from Winston, she's pretty much useless. The third would be the range DPS, which would be Pharah Mercy. So each role actually has a focus target. Pretty much like you always want to go in the focus target, whatever's being called, like low health targets and whoever your target caller is calling. You want to rely on that first. But other than that, like you can't just, if the focus target's out of range, like you guys have to know like what you're gonna do. So as far as Tracer goes, her focus target would be the focus target, and she's really good against the tanks. So Winston and D.Va, she builds a lot of ult charge from these tanks, and she counters D.Va pretty well, and she can pretty much like help kill Winston as well. She does up close headshot. She does 480 clip. So in 2 seconds, she'll take Winston down by 480 health. Winston, his focus is going to be the focus target, and also he's going to be targeting the other Winston and help DPS the D.Va down as well. His priority isn't really to focus down Pharah Mercy. If you utilize his leap just for Pharah Mercy, it's going to be pretty much useless unless you can secure the kill. But the Pharah Mercy is just going to kite you around, and then it's really important for the Winston to have that leap for defensives as well. D.Va, her focus target would be the focus target, and also mitigating damage from the Pharah Mercy, and then also help DPSing the Winston down. So the way this comp works is this comp is actually designed to fight pretty close. And the way this comp is designed is to fight defensively. So if you can bait the enemy Winston to jump in first or to blow cooldowns first, you guys will most likely win the fight. And the reason why is because Winston provides like a great utility for the team. And if you can bait him to jump in first, he won't have that jump pack to get out, and he's probably going to drop barrier. So if he's in the fight, Tracer can pretty much like fight him up close, and our Winston can always drop a barrier in between to LOS the Pharah Mercy and the D.Va. And it's it's either going to force Tracer to come into the fight or back out of it as well. So these guys are kind of ranged out. So if you can secure a kill pretty quickly once he comes in, that's going to be a game for you guys, because by Winston dying, it gives the enemy, or it gives you guys, it gives Pharah Mercy free range, and it gives Tracer free range to move in because of that cleave damage, and then the barrier as well. So it's really important that this whole thing, the way it works, is designed to play defensively and to really bait the Winston. So whoever's playing Winston, whoever blows cooldowns first is most likely going to lose. So it's pretty much the game here, and I'll show you guys in the VOD when we go through it. But you just have several things here. So aside from the roles here, you have the range DPS that's me suppressing the Pharah Mercy as well. So you see a lot of 1v1s and stuff, but you can't be solely locked on into 1v1ing the Pharah Mercy. It's not really effective, because you want to swap from like doing that and also help DPSing the tanks or the Winston and providing that cleave damage to the team. So let me go and clear this out, and I can go actually into the VOD so I can show you guys examples. All right. Do you have it full screen? Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so both teams are doing everything correctly here. See both divas putting the defense matrix at the same time. And you guys are pretty much closing in, and we're going to see which Winston jumps in first. Okay, so this is what I was talking about as far as like Winston is really a vital role in this competition. If he dies, the team is most likely going to lose, unless like somebody is like, mechanically strong and, a miracle happens. But generally speaking, if both teams are playing both compositions at 100%, it's really important for the Winston to really bait out the other Winston first. That's how this comp design would work. So by using the jump pack just for the Pharah Mercy, you didn't really do that much damage, and then now you're going to fall into their backline. They're just going to collapse on you right here. So the one thing that CLG does really well is I think they kind of predetermine. I think they kind of train for Winston to jump in first, and they're really good at baiting the Winston out. So they kind of utilize this combo to where the Diva's always with the Winston. So if a Winston jumps in first, you'll always see the Diva try to boop, especially in areas like this, like against the ledge here. When the Winston jumps in, Diva will utilize shift to boop the Winston off, because that's a free kill, and he won't have he doesn't have jump pack to leap back out or to leap back up. So if that doesn't work, then they just collapse on him and he's dead. And because of that, the fight starts to snowball, and then get reset here. And the one thing about this comp again is it's designed to kind of work close range. So I'm gonna show you guys. So after you guys win the fight here, it's actually really smart for them to kind of hold the choke. You don't want to give them a lot of room, because you want to apply pressure. So you pretty much want to be in their line of sight, and they kind of want to be in yours, especially if you're kind of holding them in their choke. Because what happens is if you guys are, if this team here, I'm sorry, CLG, what they're going to do here is they're going to hold the bridge, and what that is they're going to apply pressure to the choke, and what that is doing is that's forcing you guys to initiate or to blow cooldowns or to do something, because you guys are taking premature damage. So you guys don't have time to set up. So what it is it's forcing you guys to initiate first. Okay, so they're just spamming into choke right now. It already kind of forced the defense matrix out of your diva here. Not a whole lot, but it's still doing something. And now they pretty much baited our Winston in, and because he's kind of far away from the group, they're gonna try to for a boop here, and they didn't get it. So what they're gonna do next is they have a plan B, where the Winston is gonna jump between your Winston and the team, drop a barrier, and secure a kill. And now you guys are unable to push. And then this is something that you want to be careful on. A lot of these 1v1s here, like you have the Pharah Mercy, I think it's like 1v3. You don't ever really want to 1v1 a tracer as a diva, because a tracer counters you pretty well, and by taking you out of the fight here, she's gonna burn you pretty quickly. Like 2 clips will demech you, and that's in 2 seconds. So she's trying to pull the diva out so that diva can't provide that utility in the team. So if you can stay in the middle of the team, that's where you're most beneficial, to shield incoming damage and to provide somewhat of a cleave damage. And by cutting you out as diva, that's pretty much useless. The diva becomes useless. But anyways, I think you guys end up securing this fight. I'm not gonna go too much into how the fights work. That's like another whole, thing I have to go over or decipher. But let's go and scroll to. Okay. So let me just rewind it back a little bit here. Okay, so you guys take the fight, and now they're coming out. You guys did a good job where you were holding them in their choke, and you did force some of their defense matrix out, some of their cooldowns up. But what happened was when they start to push up, you guys really fell back, and that gave them a lot of room to jump in. So there's the defense matrix, and then now you can see how you guys back up here. And now that gave them a lot of room to come in, and they're gonna take advantage of that now. And this comes down to an alt fight from here, but I'm gonna scroll ahead and then if I can find another example. Okay. So again, they cap the point. They're holding choke to spam to you guys. You don't want to hold too aggressively. They eventually, will regress, but holding too close can be a punishment as well, because then you're gonna have to blow cooldowns to get out. So it's safe for you guys to hold choke here. All right, so the rest of these fights come down to ultimates, so and then staggering. So let me go ahead and scroll to go to Night Market. You guys were playing a different composition in this one, and I can go over that with you guys later, but I just want to show you how their dive worked so well. Okay, so against your comp, they're not gonna survive if they try to, if they're gonna fight on the courtyard, because you guys have a lot of pressure, and they don't have a lot of mitigation, and the only range pressure they have is the Pharah. So what they're gonna do is, against a comp like this, what you guys are running, all they're going to do is just rotate the fight to the point, because the way their comp is designed, they can provide a lot of cleave, and Tracer can get a lot of damage if they force you guys into a small choke, because you guys are ranged DPS. It's really, you guys are at a disadvantage if you guys fight close range. So that's what they're trying to do, and they eventually rotate to point here. Okay, so I'm gonna play through this, and I'm gonna rewind it, and I'll explain to you guys like why they played the way they did. Okay, so let me go back to this fight here. That's 48 here. Okay. All right. I'm gonna bring up TeamViewer again. Do you have it up? Jer?
Yep, I do.
Okay, you have
What's
it
up?
up. Okay, cool.
You're good.
All right. So this map is, here we go. Here I'm gonna put the ledge here, and you got some ledges here. So, because you have a soldier, they're gonna try by having the fight take place outside near ledges, it's gonna favor them. So what they're doing is, they're pretty much trying to bait you guys long range, and what that's doing is, it's gonna put your ranged heroes at a disadvantage because if, let's say here, like if your front line is pushing here for the range to play safely, they're gonna have to play back here and provide damage. And then if your front line moves here, they're gonna be here, right? So what they're doing is they're kind of baiting you guys around corners and eliminating like the Winston as much as possible because by how aggressive the Winston plays, like if let's say your range pressure is like back here, right? If your Winston's over here and the whole team is here, yeah, they're gonna kill him because your range DPS can't get there in time to cover damage. So this this line of sight here, all these bends really puts your soldier and your Pharah at disadvantages, and that's why they're able to secure kills on Winston like really quickly, and especially Winston is like this whole area is very linear and it's very choky. So there's not a lot of room for Winston to leap. So he could only go forward or backwards. So he's either going to use his jump pack to go in aggressively or defensively. And by this case, because the range pressure stays back here, he's probably going to go in pretty aggressively, and these guys can pretty much like capitalize on the Winston. So that's why they bait you guys out here into these small areas. And also with the boops, they can knock a soldier out, and then also by fighting close range, Tracer can just deal a ton of damage to soldier to Winston to Diva, and if you can get Pharah Mercy in here, then that's going to be easy as well because it'll be easier for Winston and Diva to mitigate damage from that. So again here, our Winston gets killed, and then it just snowballs from there. And then I also want you to pay attention to how quick our soldier dies as well, because this fight is just taking it's fought in close range. All right. So that's pretty much what I want to cover on this one. Again, I can go over how, because you guys can actually win against this comp with what you guys have here. It's just where you take the fights. So I actually want to go over Nepal and just show you guys briefly just a few minor things. So the one thing that CLG does really well is, again, they can bait the other Winston in very well. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay. So yeah, CLG pretty much can bait they bait the other Winston very well. I'm sorry, give me one more. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so the one thing that they do really well is they bait the enemy Winston in pretty well. So depending on where they set up, that's how they try to lure you guys in. And if you can capitalize on that, then that'll expose their weaknesses. And then also the Diva Winston coordination, to where if the Winston does dive in first, the Diva will try to boop him off ledges if it's around those kind of areas, or she'll try to boop him towards like the group, like deeper into the group, so that the enemy Winston can put a shield between your backline and your Winston, and then your Winston's gonna die immediately.
Are you going to be annotizing any more on this map? If not, I'm going to turn it on to the browser video.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Do you need to use TeamViewer to show us something on drawing right now?
Oh, no.
Okay. I'm going to put back on
Yeah.
the regular viewer then. Okay.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right, so again, if you watch CLG, they're just trying to wait for you guys to jump in first. Okay. So our Winston jumps in, and then now what happens is he drops the barrier, so there goes one cooldown, and he doesn't have jump pack, so he's pretty much screwed. So if he can kite, which he does kite here, but his cooldown comes up to where now it's in favor of the enemy because you guys because our Winston jumped in first and he was able to survive that first impact. That pretty much forces him to where if he were to have a jump pack up again, he's going to use it defensively to get out. And because the other Winston is ahead in cooldowns, they're going to win. So here you can see our Winston's forced to leap away for defensives, and now the other Winston can now use his cooldown for aggression. So he jumps in after him, and our Winston dies here. And then it starts to snowball from here. I also want to show you guys the second push here and how they try to beat you guys, and you guys actually made a good call to not go that direction. So okay, so this is the second push, right? So what they're doing here is they're all holding up top because it's elevated. A lot of teams, a lot of people running dive, if they don't understand it, their mentality is like, okay, well we're running dive, we're trying to divide them. Like, yes, that's true, but it's really tailored towards specific compositions. So because they're holding high ground, for you to get up there, you're gonna have to use cooldowns to get up there. So if you use cooldowns to get up there, then you won't have it. So they stay up there and they try to bait you guys in. Alright, so you guys made a good call by rotating the point, and now because you started rotating to a point and they can't bait your Winston in, they freak out, and now their Winston jumps in first. So you can see it right here. Boom, he jumps in, and depending on how the situation is, because you have some of the enemies that are scattered all over the place, like you have somebody high ground, somebody in the air, Pharah Mercy in the air, and then you have somebody in the back over there. I can't really make out who, and then you have a diva on the bottom. Because there is really no ideal target. I mean, I guess you guys can try to pick a target, but realize they haven't really blown cooldowns yet. I think the diva did use her shift here, but the Winston's either an easy kill, or he could pretty much be useless, depending if you could capitalize, like if a Mercy's grounded, because the Winston's taking on the fight, right? He already used jump, so he can't go back to peels for his team. He's going to use barrier, so instead of wasting 600 damage into his barrier to pop it, you can use that to kill somebody else, He's not going to do much because he doesn't have a projectile weapon, like a ranged weapon, so he can't really do anything. But because there was no ideal target to jump on, Winston should have died a lot sooner here. And now because we didn't kill him fast enough, his jump pack is now back up, and because we didn't dive in after him, now he's able to reset his cooldown and use it however he wants. And now it just comes down to, I guess, like numbers and whoever's low and out of position and mechanical skill as well. But basically, I just want you guys to understand the basic blueprint on how this composition works. And we can go later into detail with the map design and how you can correlate it into every single map. That I'll get into later, but I just want you guys to get the basic understanding of it.
All right.
And
I think
yeah,
that's it, right?
yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you for going through that, Kitta. Guys, hopefully that's informative. Anything we do have in terms of analyst questions or anything else catered to the specifics on how to fight the team comp and what to do um, and what to look out for during engagements. Um, Please bring up anything that you might have in terms of ideas or questions, or perhaps even some possible theory crafting on how we could engage differently as well on specific maps. So again, if you need a DM Kitta, she's in the Discord, so feel free. Don't be shy. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I'm more happy to explain it. So, and then I also have, I'm gonna link Jer, like pretty much the guide of what I was talking about, and you guys can always refer back to that if you have any questions or any doubts or anything like that.
All right, that's a wrap.